Every workplace has Kurukshetra, but great leaders win alignment without creating enemies. The real leadership test is not avoiding conflict, it is transforming conflict without war. Global employment engagement fell by 20% in 2025, showing how quick workspace tension can weaken and trust the execution. So, joining us, Dr. Arti Kotak, Assistant Professor, Behavioral Facilitator, L&D Coach, and author, and a POSH trainer who helps people navigate communication and workplace behavior. Before we dive into the topic, let's have a small video about Power of Mindful. Welcome to Power Preeminent Conclave podcast, a weekly podcast by Power of Knowing Forum. Before we dive into the topic, let's welcome our speaker, Dr. Arti, and dive into the topic. Hi, Arti, you're there? Hello. Hi, Arti. I think we have a technical glitch. We will wait for Arti to rejoin. Arti, you're able to hear us? I think we have a technical glitch. Before she will wait for her to rejoin. Hi, Arti. I think there was a technical glitch. That's okay. Welcome to our podcast. And how are you today?
Yeah, completely fine. Namaste. Good evening, everyone. And first and foremost, I'm really glad to share this platform with you, and actually all the viewers who are going to participate in this conversation.
Thank you. Welcome to our podcast,
Thank you so much
Arti.
for this wonderful
And
invitation.
yeah, let's start with the first pointer that we want to look at is where does workplace Kurukshetra begin?
This Kurukshetra, when you know what, Prem, what happens generally when we listen this word, Kurukshetra, the fierce image that comes to our mind about chaos, battles and war, right? And at the same time, when we talk about corporate Kurukshetra, workplace Kurukshetra, that evolves the same perception of war, conflicts, right? But today I want to shift attention from the word Kurukshetra to Dharmashetra. When we start Bhagavad Gita, reading Bhagavad Gita, when we start reading Bhagavad Gita, the first verse that starts with Dhritarashtra Uvacha, Dharmashetre Kurukshetre Samveta Yuyutsava Mamaka Pandavascheva Kim Kurvata Sanjaya. So even Bhagavad Gita doesn't start with Kurukshetra, actually. That starts with Dharmashetra. Now, what is Dharmashetra? It is when Dhritarashtra said, Mamaka पांडवाश्चैव, मेरे और पांडु के पुत्र. That's where the conflict begins. Right. This is Dharmakshetra. So before we have Kurukshetra with others, right, that starts from within. So if I say, when I enter at the workplace, right, so if I always consider that I'm entering at the place of Kurukshetra, but if I consider that I'm entering at the world of Dharmakshetra, that, it starts from within. When some situations take place and I say, I think, should I speak the truth, or
Yeah.
should I stay silent, or should I compromise my values for the promotion? Should I take credit for others' work? So these are what, actually? These are not Kurukshetras. These are Dharmkshetras. That starts from within first, right? So even if we see Bhagavad Gita, we find that it starts from Dharmakshetra, and then the conflict starts from within, and then it becomes Kurukshetra with others. So that is, the Kurukshetra is not with others first at the corporate. It is between the character and the convenience. It is between the integrity and interest. It is between purpose and pressure. So this is the situation where Kurukshetra begins, and after conducting n number of surveys and interviews, conversations from professionals working at the diverse places, and I could find one research gap, and the code that I wanted to crack. And when they revealed one situation, that the workplaces don't fall just because of the technical error, that falls because of conflicts, emotional intelligence, lack of emotional intelligence, lack of soft skills. And that was the reason I wanted to write the book on it. And when I used to read Bhagavad Gita and I tried to review the content, the entire content of Bhagavad Gita, that Bhagavad Gita is divided into 18 chapters. And the first 6 chapters focus on the self mastery only. 7 to 12 chapters focus on teamwork, and 13 to 18 chapters, they focus on leadership. So that was the reason that I wanted that timeless wisdom to be converted into the current situation. So I wrote this book, Corporate Kurukshetra, Soft Skills Sutras, Win the Battle Without War. And after n numbers of surveys and conversations, I divided this fiction, although it is a fiction, but to make it trendy, I have digitized the timeless wisdom and the lessons of Bhagavad Gita into the AI tools. So even at 2020, 2050, how Bhagavad Gita can survive at the workplace, and soft skills can be enhanced, and leaders keep on winning without war. So this is all about it. So yeah, coming back to your question, Prem, it is that workplace, when you say that where Kurukshetra begins, so I will definitely say that first it begins from within, and then we start having conflicts with others. If I am clear from my side, I think I will have less conflicts with others.
Understood. Got it. I think your point is very valid when we say Kurukshetra is the inner fight that we do, right? And that fight is with everybody having the same kind of fight with their own lives, their own choices, their own mistakes that they feel, and that justifications that they want to think about before they do anything. Is it going to right? You started with that, right? You said, is it right to do?
Yeah.
Will it affect anybody? That's the first questions, is where you spoke about dharma kshetra, where you are talking about, will it be good first from my side if I do that, right? And that's
Yes.
a very important point I take from that. When you say that every workplace has a Kurukshetra, what are the competing interests, loyalties, emotions, and power structures that create this battlefield?
Yeah. You know, when we say that workplaces have Kurukshetra, so we feel that the conflicts are between people. But most of the time, if you scrutinize this situation, that is not like this. The conflicts arise from the competitive interest and competitive priorities. For example, there is a very big corporate, right? And there is a sales department which just want to boost the sales. That is their priority. But at the same time, production department, it wants to focus on the quality of the product. So there is not the fight between these people of the departments. There's the fight or the conflict between speed and quality. And at the same time, when the manager wants the team to bring the innovations, but the team members have n numbers of work which are already piling up on the desk. So that is not the conflicts between people. So it is the conflict between innovations and continuation. So if you see that, leaders want some of the matters to be solved very easily, but sometimes corporates or the company policy might not support. So this is the conflict between short-term goal and long-term goals. So these are the priorities and purposes and interest which are different, and conflicts take place. It's maybe not always just because of the people.
Got it, Arti. So I've brought the URL for your book onto the screen for the readers to
Thank
look
you.
at. So
Yeah.
if anybody wants to look at what the book talks about and what is the real Kurukshetra that we are talking about today, is being mentioned in the book, and it's available on Amazon. So I've brought the QR to you. Anybody who wants to look at this book, please
And
scan in.
it is I would like to add one thing. The book is in the form of story, interactive story, suspense, thriller, and a lot
Okay.
of details have been added to it, so it will enhance the interest of the readers as well.
Thank you for that, Arti. Now,
Yeah.
how can leaders identify the difference between visible disagreement and deeper conflict underneath it? Because there's a lot of difference to the two words. Your take on it.
What happens when problems take place at the workplace? So mostly it's not only about leaders, anyone, even if me, you, everyone, focuses on the situation which is visible.
Hmm.
But here, uh, it is the time for the leaders to be detective. I would like to give one example of Microsoft, right? Somewhere in 2023 and 24, Satya Nadella, CEO of Microsoft, under his leadership, he wanted to launch Copilot.
Hmm.
So, because of the trend of AI and the workplace progress, but at that time, what happened? That superficially all the employees disagreed. That was the visible situation, that
Hmm.
everyone disagreed by throwing the kinds of statements that we don't have time, we are busy, we already have existing work, how would we focus on the trainings of new technology, AI? That was the visible situation. But here the leaders deep dive after deeping dive, they came to know that this is not the real situation. The real situation was that all the employees had the fear, what would happen if AI would replace them,
Very please.
right? That was the hidden conflict. And here we have to use, the leaders have to use the empathetic communication. No option. So they use the empathetic communication. They try to put their feet into the shoes of the employees, and they came to know, okay, this is the hidden conflict. So what happened? They didn't enforce the technology. What they did, they started reskilling programs. They
Hmm.
invested in AI literacy for the employees. And the conversation shifted from will AI replace me to how will AI make me more valuable? So this is the code that the leaders have to crack.
Now, I think very important point when we start any AI journey is to make the organization and its employees that we are going to enhance the performance of the work that we are doing.
Yes.
It is not that AI is going to replace. Yes, I think
Yes.
if you really look at how many of us thinks they have lost jobs, I don't think so, because it is enhanced the way you think of having work done better. You are learning new things and you are not doing repetitive tasks. That's the first point. Then what is a repetitive task which you don't need to spend on time? Solving problems is the major thing, and human intervention is very, very much required. So I think AI is a different topic that we can talk and
Yes.
keep on
Yes.
talking on it.
So this
Now,
is the, there are many hidden issues, but these issues reflect in a different way, and leaders feel that okay, the superficial issue is that, and this is the visible thing, and we have to solve this. But actually, the hidden story might be completely different.
why do unclear roles, competing priorities, unequal recognition, and unspoken expectations often turn professional differences into personal differences?
Yeah. That's really, the difficult situation for anyone when professional situations become personal. So I
Mm,
think I would like to give the answer by saying that it is just one thing. It is when clarity is missing,
okay.
right? And the same purpose among all the teams is not conveyed.
Mm,
For example, if I take the example of Amazon Prime Day, one of the biggest shopping events of the world, right? What is the purpose of it actually? If we see, uh, it should be beneficial for the customers as well as for the employees of Amazon, right?
mm, mm,
To compete the retail markets, to
mm,
boost the sales, right? And to support the small businesses which are dependent on Amazon. So the purpose, the clear purpose is to make the event the big success and um, memorable, that
mm,
the
mm.
prime customers can continue with the
Continue.
platform, right? So this is the purpose. But what the teams just work for themselves, like sales and marketing and sales wants to generate just leads, more and more leads, and sales wants to boost the sales. But at the same time, financial, that accounting department wants to reduce the discount. At the same time, if you see, the production departments wants to focus on the quality of the work only. They are not concerned about anything else. If customer care service focuses only that the we should not be getting more complaints, technical departments don't want any chaos on the platform. So this is the individual goal of the department. There is not the shared purpose, right? And because of that, if we see in Mahabharat, Arjuna was a great archer, Bhima was a great warrior, uh, Yudhishthir was a king, Dharmavir. If you see Nakul and Sahadev, they had the wisdom and they had the power of prediction. Shikhandi stood before the Bhishma Pitama. They all had power, right? They all were warriors, but they fought just for one purpose, to establish the Dharma. They didn't glorify themselves and fought and won. So the victory was not because that everyone won or played the same role. The victory was because they were conveyed properly. There was the clarity of the purpose, and purpose, there was just one purpose for that they fought. So I think that is just clarity, and the same purpose should be communicated with clarity.
Any message that is passed with clarity, I think, goes and gets done quickly, and there is no confusion. And if it is not clear, the other
Yeah,
side person should ask, "I'm not clear." That's
yeah,
another way of looking at, because you have told message clearly, but if I don't receive the same message clearly and I still have doubts, I'll still play the mind game of thinking that is right or this is right.
Yeah. Then
Somewhere,
becomes the, yes,
I,
encoding and
I
decoding issue. Yes.
so I recall one of my bosses who used to tell us was first listen. Okay. And when you listen, you get a lot of insights from many people. Write it down, address it one by one after everybody is spoken,
Yes.
so that you
Yes.
don't get the wrong message. Now you cut it off somewhere, the other people also will feel that they are also cut off. So I
Yeah.
think that is the challenge that we see. Now, what early signals should leaders notice before tension becomes fractionalism, disagreement, and organization politics?
Okay. This is the time for leaders to scrutinize the situation. But the early signals that I would like to suggest, that it would be first the silence.
Yeah.
Silence from the employees. The leaders will have to find the unspoken words. Not only they will have to, that they are not there just to focus on the spoken words. So first is the silence. Number two, easy agreement. First employees used to focus on the debates, but when we find that now they are agreeing easily, that's the code to be cracked. And if these situations are not communicated, or the decisions are not taken promptly by the leaders, these are the small small situations which can be converted into the devastating wars. We see that Mahabharat war didn't take place just with the blow of the conch shells. It took place prior, when it became the culture that the silence from the elders, and unaddressed justice, these things turn into the devastating war. So here leaders have to address the whispers before they become the headlines.
I am getting to infer is that when people become silent, half of the
Yes.
problems become the major problems,
Yes,
and
true.
because it is not getting discussed, right? I think what we see here as a Kurukshetra as a leadership metaphor is for situations in which people face competing duties, relationships, interests, and interperceptions of what is right, because everybody has their own perception, is what I understand. And the workplace battlefield may not involve open confrontation, but it will appear as silence during meetings. That's what you said. Information being
Yes,
withheld because I I'm not heard, so I there is no point in me
there
talking.
is
Also,
no
is
point.
one of the,
Yes,
yeah.
true,
So
true.
those are few things. Then decision being delayed. Today, if I
Yes,
have to take a decision on something, if I don't take that decision, it is delayed, and people know if that decision is taken, things will move forward. If it is not
yeah,
taken, then it is. Teams protecting department interest. Now, let the department be okay. I will do it in my department because they are not working. So it becomes a solo or silos of
yeah.
departments which get
Yes, yes,
created,
true.
right? And what we can look at is one of few of the example is the deadline dispute may actually be an inadequate resources. Have we checked? I'll take one example, Arti, is I used to work for one person called Shajit.
Okay.
His name was Shaji T. Okay, so he was the head of the department, and we had got into one project. So we were always worried why the project is not starting. Okay, then we understood something is that once the project is started, okay, what are the challenges that is not ready to start? We know once the project starts, we'll all get work. But if he's not starting, what could be challenge? We wrote mails, we escalated all these things. Then I went to the PMO and said, Mr. Shaji sir is not allowing us to start the project. So how do we look at this? And my PMO gave me one good example is that you go talk to. Mr. Rushaji, and find out why is he not ready to start the project. And when we went and sat and spoke to that person, what we understood is there's an approval that is pending for him to get the funding. The project is ready. The resources are allocated. Everything is done. But you need a certain fund to buy certain equipment for the project to start. We were thinking that equipment, everything is ready. We have to just go start. When we started discussing, we understood what are the challenges, and that's where the clarity came into picture. So this is one example where one of the projects that we did was a fluid data center project, one of the first kind we were testing on it. So it was a very prestigious project for the organization. And my boss, who was heading that project, did not want to miss even a single point to go wrong there. So we did not understand that angle, but we were thinking the project is not starting. Right. So that is one challenge that I felt, right? And the leadership felt that it will take time and they started working on it. So that's how we were able to do that. Now, the point that I want to say is the conflict discussion in the meeting is rarely the complete conflict shaping the workspace. That's the place I would like to say. Now, coming to the next pointer, what I want to understand from you is how can leaders distinguish productivity disagreement, which improves decisions, from destructive conflict that damages trust, dignity, and performance?
Okay. I will love to say that, it is very easy to choose from good and bad, but it is very difficult to choose to choose between bad and worse. So, this situation for leaders.
Mm,
From everywhere, people are complaining, right? Actually, it's worse. But from worse also, there would be at least something bad that the leader can distinguish. Complaints are always, of course, disagreement is should be healthy, but complaints are bad. So here, the situation is very difficult for the leaders. So just one thing can be observed by the leaders, that when employees are interested in discussing, or they have disagreement on the projects, that is the positive disagreement. But
mm,
when that conversation shift from projects to people,
okay.
that's unhealthy actually. So here leaders can follow the informal talks when they feel that in the cafeteria, the team which is discussing the projects and having disagreement, this is healthy. But with the team which is discussing the people on the table, that is not healthy.
There is some statement which says that great mind talks about ideas
Yes,
and others talk about whom to
people.
blame, right? So that's the point. I think what behaviors indicate that debate has shifted from challenging ideas to attacking identity, intent, and credibility.
The behavior actually, especially when the trust is lost, that is visible, and the kind of behavior that people want to, uh, you know, keep on proving themselves, and the blame game starts. Mostly, actually, there is the humor, that what is the importance of teamwork. That is very, it is very easy to blame anyone in the team. So when these things start happening, this is the catch.
Very important point because we are shifting the focus from what can be
Yes.
achieved rather than saying
Then
whom should I pass the buck to, saying
yes,
I am not at
yes,
fault, right? So I think
definitely.
that is one thing that is very important. How should
Yes.
leaders respond when incivility is disguised as honesty, high standards, performance pressure, or just the way they work? or we work. Yeah.
Yeah, this is a very serious matter. I will love to say this. You know, in at many workplaces, especially, I can say, I will not use the word workplaces. At many toxic workplaces, right? When incivility is disguised as the designation, right? For example, there are many people who can just behave the way they want to behave. It's just because uh, they have the power and the designation. This is the dangerous situation. And when leaders don't take the decisions promptly, then this becomes the accepted culture eventually. So this is the time that leaders are supposed to separate, or they are supposed to strategies, performance.
I think there's a technical challenge Aarti is facing, so she'll rejoin us. What we are trying to say is SRM's workflows in civility research found that incivility remained a significant organization concern heading into 2026. Its workplace civility handbook reported that 74% of the surveyed US workers expected civility to worsen, while 30% said they were likely to leave the job because of incivility. SHRM also found that more than half believe managers care more about business objectives than how people are treated. That's the point that we want to look at. And before Aarti joins back, see, I wanted to say is that uh, everybody has a pointer. Let me bring Aarti here. She's joined back. Aarti, can you hear us? Aarti, I think you need to rejoin again. We are not able to see you. So, what we are also saying is disagreement strengthens organization, disrespect dismantles them. So, I think that's the point that we want to do. Say, when we spoke about what is that we see, leaders also must apply standards on consistently, and tolerating harmful behavior from a commercially valuable, I think, or a technical expectation from an employee tells the organization that results matter more than their dignity. I think that is the challenge that we see when we see. Hi, Aarti, can you hear us? Yeah,
Yeah.
I think we lost you on video. That's still fine. I think there's some technical challenge that you're facing.
Okay.
That's okay.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm back. Yeah.
yeah. So, why do leaders sometimes defend their first interpretation of conflict instead of examining whether it is accurate? Can you hear us?
Yeah, sir, would you please repeat? There was some
Yeah,
technical glitch.
no problem. Why do leaders sometimes defend their first interpretation of conflict instead of examining whether it is accurate?
Here one thing which is really difficult. I will use the word that it is the concept of double C.
Hmm.
One C stands for chair, and
Okay.
another C stands for character.
Mm.
See, when chair becomes bigger than character, these things are going to happen.
Okay. Got it.
Leaders have this kinds of attitude, ego, that I'm the senior one, I have designation, I have the power, position, chair. I think no one will be able to stop him behaving like this, right? But if there is the positive attitude that leaders have, right, that will definitely help them. We see there are many leaders, they don't wear the crown, but still there are the influencers. They
Yeah.
have the power in character. They might not have chairs or positions. We see Lord Krishna. He was just a charioteer.
Mm.
We see Vidur.
Yeah.
He influenced and he guided with the help of wisdom. Chanakya created the empire without
Yeah.
wearing crown. Right? Gandhiji, he was not appointed anywhere, but we see where we found him. So I think it is the concept of double C, when chair becomes bigger than character and ego becomes bigger, and assumptions start playing the role. These
Mm.
things happen.
Look, with that point, how can leaders recognize when they are reacting to disrespect, insecurity, past experiences, or fear losing control?
Yeah, again, it is the attitude. I would like to give one example of Microsoft. Satya Nadella, he changed the concept from knowing all to learning all.
So, okay.
So here, what can help? It's the just mindset. From static to growth mindset can assist.
I got your point. No, what we are also saying is conflict is intensified when leaders confuse, because if there's a
Yes.
confusion in the leadership itself, then the conflict may grow because of their interpretation. What they interpret with fact, disagreement with disloyalty, and authority with correctness is what is important for us. Silence with consent. If I'm silent, that means there's something which I don't want to talk, so I rather be silent. That's what. Well, if you really look at, a leader may observe one event, select a limited information for, and immediately construct a story also, because whatever he has with that he can build a narrative, right? So that's the point that we want to look at. Coming to the point that I want to say is, the first battle a leader must win is often one between rejection and judgment. That's
Yes,
the
definitely.
important point. Yeah.
Yes,
Right.
yes.
Now, coming to next point, when organization systems must support leaders so that workplace conflict is addressed fairly rather than through power, politics, or personal preferences. Your take on it, Aarti.
Sometimes we constantly talk about powerful leaders, but I have when I used to conduct the interviews and I used to have the conversations with the leaders when I go to the corporates for training and mentoring. There was just one thing I have also observed for leaders, that they are also helpless sometimes. So I think it is not only powerful leaders they can who can change the scenario of workplace. There should be also a powerful system, right, where there should be the transparent goals, short term, long term, aligned KPIs, and you know unbiased grievance, everything work. So workplace can be changed. It's not just with the help of powerful people, but there should also be powerful system, so the goals and the conflicts can be resolved without politics and people.
It is very difficult to manage a office politics when it becomes an inter. And my experience is, you can run a project for a big organization outside your organization, but if there is an internal project, running that project is very difficult when compared to running an external project. That is my understanding, right? So I think the challenges, the issues are bigger when we have internal stakeholders. It's the same thing when we do with our family also, right? We can fight the world, but we cannot fight the family.
But even beyond this, I think the first conflict that starts, it's from us only. If
Yeah,
I have conflict with myself, right, I
correct.
will have conflict with others. So I believe in this concept, and even many leaders, they observed and they said that we need to first lead ourselves before leading the team. So
Yeah,
this is the concept that really works in life. It's not only in professional life, but even in personal life. If
correct.
I don't have any conflict with myself, right, what people would say about me, how they will judge me, and I think these are the things which are going to be just subsidiary.
Very true on that. What should leaders do when conflict involves differences in hierarchy, gender, influence, employee security, or access to decision making? Your take on it, Arti.
Sir, here I would like to add one thing. It is, you must have heard one name of Lord Krishna. It is Ranchod, right? He left the battlefield and he ran away. That's why it is said that he left the run. Run, it is the word in in Gujarati, that is the battlefield. He
Hmm.
left the place and he ran away. So that's why it is called Ranchod. So here, what can work? It is situational shift. There are
Hmm.
policies, right? There are systems, but there are some sensitive cases which should be investigated formally. Informal discussions might not work over here, or the same system might not work over here. Why? Because the gender is different, power is different, hierarchy is different. So neutral systems might not work.
Hmm.
So here, one thing can be taken: situational ship. This is the type of leadership that leaders can implement, and it is called the adaptation of
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
situation, and it is advisable sometimes in some sense because of some
Yeah.
sensitive cases.
With that, how can the organizations create psychological safety without allowing it to become protection from accountability or difficult feedbacks?
Uh, can I have the question once again, please?
Okay. So, how can organizations create a psychological safety without allowing it to become protection from accountability or difficult feedbacks?
Yeah. So here it is just one thing
Mhm.
that the system can also provide. It is the positive psychological environment. I would like to recall one project that Google conducted, the project Aristotle, somewhere in 2014 and 15. He this project conducted the research on 180 teams, right, which outperformed than other teams because of the positive psychological environment. If we see Amazon, the leadership strategy, it is disagree and commit. They implement this strategy, and we must accept that strong teams don't think alike, but they can execute the decision which is decided and which is taken. So this is the situation that by providing a positive psychological environment, even Netflix, that platform also invites encourage feedback,
Yeah.
but on the work, not on the people, to maintain the dignity.
Yeah.
So there is one thing, that is the positive psychological environment. Leaders can encourage the open discussions, open dialogues, which will definitely happen.
What we are saying, culture is revealed not by the
Yeah.
conflicts an organization has or organization avoids, but how fairly it resolves the conflicts that arise. Because
Yes.
Every business, my again, I'll go back to my boss's statement where he used to say, if I have a pain, I will get a project.
Yeah.
In sense, everybody needs solutions at one or the other space. Everybody is looking for solutions which can solve a small problem, a major problem. Sometimes it can be a new market itself. There could be somebody that initiative has to be taken and they can start looking at, is what I understand. Now, what practical leadership playbook can help organizations win workforce or workplace battles without creating winners, losers, or long time resentment?
It is one thing that the playbook that leaders can have. It is that they are not here to create the winners or losers, right? So the playbook that leaders can implement is to rebuild the trust, to restore the trust which is lost, right? Rather than creating winners and losers, leaders can rebuild the trust, re-establish the policies and organization.
Very true. Now, coming to the question that I want to understand is, uh, what should a leader do during the first 24 hours after becoming aware of a serious workplace conflict?
Yeah. Most of the time when you use the word 24 hours, right? So that shows that leaders always rush to judge, right? I think that should not happen. Here, I would like to share one simple story between two sons and a father. There were two sons and they were very hungry at home, and there was just one orange left on the table. So, definitely, here I would like to also ask this question to you, Prem. What would you do?
Can you bring it up
Yeah,
again, please? Sorry.
see, when we use that 24 hours, right? So, most of the
Yeah,
time
yeah.
when we find there is the shortage of time, and what happens that leaders always rush to judge.
Hmm.
So here I want to give the example of a story. There is the story between a father and two sons.
Okay.
So both the sons are very hungry, and
Mhm.
there is just one orange left on the desk, on the
Okay.
table.
Okay.
So mostly, what father would do if you would be there at the place of father? What would be your take on? I mean, what would be the
I'll divide
solution?
that into two pieces and give it. So one
Definitely.
or yeah, that's the point. Yeah.
Yes, mostly everybody does that. Even I had been at that place, I would have done the same thing, right? I would have cut the orange and I would have divided it between my two sons, right?
Yeah.
The father did the same thing. Again, after 10 minutes, the both are crying, and father felt that okay, I solved the problem. That's what the leaders do. That
Yeah.
I completed, I did, I resolved the situation. Then again, after few days, the same conflicts take place. So the son started crying again, and then father asked, "Then why are you crying? Right? I divided the apple. I didn't do any injustice." So the first son said, "I'm so hungry that I want full orange."
Hmm.
Right? And another son said, "I don't want because I'm hungry. I just wanted the orange peel for my science or for my art project."
Okay.
So see, leaders have these assumptions that I solved the problem, I solved the situations, right? But here, what leaders can do, the code that they have to crack is the emotional intelligence. They have to scrutinize the situation. They have to understand what is the need of the particular department, and then the solution should be provided. Not I think that I give the solutions. I know better. I'm the leader. I have the designation. So I think this is the situation.
I
That's
think
the call.
it's very important to understand what is the requirement, whether it's the orange or the
Yes.
peel itself. So I think that's the
Yes,
point
yes.
that we should look at. Now, how can leaders move people from competing position towards shared interest? Because uh, we need shared interest to be clear, and clear decisions with accountability of actions. How do you look at this?
It is just one, as I even said before, the positive psychological environment, open discussions, right? Even Lord Krishna didn't remove the battlefield. We cannot, solve the problems for everyone. They have to do it by themselves. But at least we can assist them to be the fearless. So I think this is the situation that can be managed by the leaders by providing the open dialogue. Even the freshers can assist with this. Even the freshers have some good ideas. They are the digital natives, right? So they can give better ideas than being the leaders. They cannot say that you cannot give me the idea. So I think first that make them fearless. They can encourage the open dialogue,
Yeah,
and they can disagree and then commit, right? Strong teams always disagree and then they commit. So these are the uh, situations can be handled like this.
I think what you are saying is you need to see what is the situation's requirement at the moment, right?
Yes,
And how
definitely.
do we look at it? What outcomes demonstrate that conflict has genuinely been resolved rather than temporarily suppressed?
Definitely we find a team having collaboration, having discussions on deals and projects
Hmm.
rather than people, and investing their time and energy into gossip. So these are the indicators.
I think what we are also saying is win without the war. The,
Yes.
what the playbook should look at is stop harmful behavior, right?
Yeah.
Protect confidentiality, avoid public judgment, prevent retaliation, determine whether it needs an immediate escalation or it is not required. Right? That's the point that we want to look at. Also, understand the situation. Here, relevant perspectives separately. Distinguish facts from interpretations. Right?
Yes.
Identify power differences, because from an angle that I am looking at, the power or the position that I hold would be different. From a manager or a sub person, there would be a different perspective. And that perspectives have to be analyzed. Now, the example that you took about two oranges, that guy needed only the peel. But
Yes.
our understanding was you have one orange, so I cut it into half and I gave it to him.
So I think it is focusing more on facts than assumptions.
Correct. I think. No, I think we should also look at examining the initiatives, roles, structures that cause that. Establish whether the issue is interpersonal, performance related, behavioral, or
Yes,
strategic.
yes,
Yeah, so
of
those are
course.
things that we need to look at. With this, I think we are on top of the hour, and I have few audience questions which I am
Yeah, yeah,
bringing up here. They've
sure.
given it to me. I'll paste it into the chat and I'll bring it up to the screen. Give me a second, please. This is the first question I have. So, where does the most damaging workplace conflict usually begin?
It is first, as I said, from self, right?
Hmm,
And it
hmm.
is the ego of the leaders, right?
Okay.
When I also say that when chair becomes bigger than the character. So sometimes, if I have written the chapter number 18 in my book. It is power without position.
Hmm.
So to influence someone, we don't require actually position.
Okay.
So this is the take on that. If ego can be resolved, um, other things will be managed by themselves.
There's another question which is come. This is about think of a workplace conflict that remained unresolved. What was left was unsaid because people feared hierarchy, retaliation, damaging relations, or career consequences. This is this one.
Yeah,
Any
yeah.
pointers there?
Yeah, most of the workplace have this kinds of conflicts. Again, here we can take the example of Microsoft. They shift their attention from the knowing all to learning all. If the leaders implement these kinds of strategies which depend on the growth mindset rather than the static mindset,
Mm,
and where everyone can have the platform to share their knowledge and to share their experience. And one thing here I would like to add, that most of the time leaders treat everyone equally.
mm.
This is the wrong god. If they employees are treated equally, right, the excellence will go.
Go.
So they should be treated fairly rather than equally. So
I was reading one book. I've mentioned this in my earlier podcasts as well. If you really look at John C. Maxwell's book of Five Levels of Leadership, he
yeah,
clearly demarks saying that when you are at level one, you should be talking at a level one. Though you are on the top position, if you talk at level one, the people will be synergizing. If you go to level two, you should talk to level two people in the way that level two needs to understand. So it's a structure that is built, and from level 5 to level 4 there's a different mindset that builds, right? And people get elevated because of that mindset shift that is happening, right? And that's the key thing that we should look at. One more point which has come up is, which leadership response most often makes workplace conflict worsen, right?
first, when they don't reward the deserved candidate, and
Hmm.
again I mentioned that when they start treating everyone equally rather than fairly, at the same designation, we see also, we go for the interviews from same college, same qualification, and but then also the promotion and salary hike is different. So that, why, what would be the reason?
Hmm.
Definitely the skills, right?
Yeah.
So the skills should be appreciated, and appreciation is the one of the best things that leaders can implement in their leadership strategies.
Thank you for that. And I have taken few of the takeaways. I would like to bring them up here.
Yeah.
Conflict is usually a signal, not a complete problem, that we
Yep.
spoke at the start of the system. And
Yes.
visible disagreement often points to deeper issues involving roles, recognition, identity, power, incentives, or unspoken expectations. Those are pointers that we can take. Now, leadership must protect dissent and rejection in a reject disrespect. That's what I say. Healthily accept or disagree, right? Improves decision. That's what we will say. Humanization relation can also bring damage to uh, trust, engaging and execution. The third point that I want is self mastery comes before conflict mastery, because
Yes. Yes.
you need to
Yes.
understand us first, which you told is, when we know to calm ourselves and we understand our own conflict, we can resolve others' conflict also. Leaders must examine their triggers, assumptions, loyalties before even intervening into disputes involving other people. That's the other. Fair system matters more than leadership
Equal
intention,
system. Yes.
right? And clear conduction standards, posh processes, grievance mechanisms, psychological safety stuff, and constant consequence prevention, conflict resolution being becoming more influential driven. So that's the fourth point that I want to take. Winning a war without means winning war without war is what I mean is Restoring organization capacity is what we are saying. The expected outcome is not defeating the opponent. It is clear decisions, repairing work, relationships, greater trust, accountability behavior, and ability to move forward. These are the takeaways that I had in mind with the conversation that we have been doing for the last 1 hour. Any final points before we close, Aarti, for the session?
Yeah, I would like to add here one thing, that winning without war, that doesn't mean defeating the opponent,
Yeah,
actually,
yeah,
especially for the leaders.
yeah,
Leaders are not there to create winners or losers.
correct.
The leaders are there to build the trust which is lost, to rebuild the organizations. Most of the times that happens, that leaders avoid the conflicts, but if the glass is broken, right, so leaders should be at the leading position to pick up the first uh, piece of it. So this is like, leaders are not there to win without war. It's like, that means they have to defeat the opponent. They have to rebuild the organization, restore the trust, and they can create the legacy which can be added even in the absence of leaders. When we see Yudhishthir, he didn't celebrated the victory. He rebuilt the trust of the
Yeah.
people. He rebuilt the kingdom. So the end of conflict isn't victory; it is the restored trust, and that is all about winning the war.
Thank you for that.
Winning without war. Yes.
Yeah. Thank you for that, Aarti, and thank you for helping us examine workplace conflict through powerful metaphors of Kurukshetra, because it's based on the book that we are talking about, and for reminding us that leadership is not demonstrated by defeating people,
Yes. Yes.
suppressing disagreement, and protecting authority. The central message from this conversation is very clear.
It's
Every work,
creating a legacy, in fact,
yeah.
that can be headed even in the absence of the leaders, and that is all about winning without the war.
So every workplace will experience competing priorities, difficult relationships, moments of conflict. The quality of leadership is revealed by whether those moments create organizations learning or organization's welfare. For everyone
Yes.
watching this, reflect on this. Is this conflict in your workspace appear to be people, but it is actually exposing weakness in leadership, communication, and organization decision is what we want to say. With this, we would like to conclude our session. Thank you for joining us, Arti, and it's great having you here and the audience. Thank you.
my my pleasure to share this wonderful platform with you and my all viewers. Thank you for participating in the conversation.
Thank you.
Thank you.